Welcome to the Save Community podcast, where every other week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby.
Hello.
And Ryan Robinson.
Hi guys, what up? What up, what up? It's me. So.
When you got close to your mic, it sounded really bad.
Oh, hold up. Hold up.
It's better now.
What? How about this?
Yep, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Okay, I'm gonna do like this.
Can you not? And say you did?
Yeah.
Remember when we had those microphones that you like literally had to be making out with?
Oh yeah. I was like this.
Yeah. That was fun.
I remember getting fussed at because I kept forgetting to make out with microphone.
Yeah.
Well.
Though I do miss having a better mic. Once I'm like in a better financial position, that'll be happening. But that's not what we talk about on the show. What have you guys been playing?
Ryan, you want to go? You want me to go?
I want you to go. You always go first. I want you to go first.
Okay, so first, the Castlevania Advance Collection came out.
Boom.
So I played through Aria of Sorrow, which is the best of those games in my opinion. I played through normal as Soma, and then I played through again with the Julius route. Still super fun game.
Why would you pick the best one first? Because then now you just know everything else is downhill.
You know, it's funny you say that, because after I went and said, like, I'm going to play some Circle of the Moon, which, like, Circle of the Moon is the worst game in that bundle, you know? And I'm like, yeah, this is bad. So I stopped about 10 minutes into that.
You played yourself.
I know,
now you can't play those other games without comparing.
No, I started playing Harmony. Harmony's great. It's just very different, and the music's bad. But, like, other than that, it's a great game. But yeah, those games.
Which is ironic for Harmony to have bad music.
Well, that's. I mean, look, they do. You know, Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorry, right? But you know, I just love Castlevania, and Aria is so great. I'm really hoping we get a DS collection. Which a lot of people are like, well, how would they do that without a touchscreen? I'm like, though, you could map most of that shit to button prompts, and it would be fine. You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm really hoping we get that. Finished Deathloop. Deathloop is awesome. It's just so awesome, man. I know people have their problems with it. I don't care. I love it. Yeah, the AI is stupid, and like, yes, the AI is stupid, but like, they're not supposed to be fucking soldiers. They're just supposed to be fucking people, you know? Like,
I would also argue that if the AI being, I think the AI is actually the right amount of intelligent for that specific game. Yeah. Because if you think about it, I think that if you were making them what I guess people would consider like decently intelligent AI in a game that was structured that way, I think that game would start to feel like more like a chore than anything.
I don't disagree. Like, the enemy AI in Dishonored is much, much better, right?
Yeah.
So we know that Arcane is capable of making good AI. But, like, it doesn't matter. The game is great.
Yeah.
And, like, the story, I don't hear enough people talking about the story, but, like, the story is great. It's one of those stories, which is, like, my favorite kind of story in video games, where the more you give as a player, the more you get out of the story, you know?
Sure.
There's this character, Ryan, I'm not going to spoil anything about it. I'm just going to tell you, look for Pick Rexley. I don't see anybody talking about Pick Rexley. And, like, it's fucking great.
They should.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Everyone's sleeping on Pick.
Yeah.
The Rex.
And then, last but not least, yesterday, Alan Wake Remastered came out, so I just finished that. Still fantastic. I still need to go through The Signal and The Writer, which were the two DLCs that came out for it, which are included with it. But, like, if you love that game, for $30 for a brand new PS5 copy of that thing, and, like, I think it's significantly better. You know? Like, at the very least, the faces are much better, because those faces did not age well.
Sure.
In the original version, you know? Yeah, it's still such a great game.
Do they do any trigger or haptic stuff?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. You'll barely really notice it, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's there, but like I didn't really notice it, you know.
Sure.
It's almost like you know how like in Deathloop or like in Control, like every step you take, you can feel it in the controller.
Yeah.
But like after the first 20 minutes of that, it's so far in the back of your brain that you don't even register it anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But like
It's your new normal.
yeah, but it's fantastic. And like they added these weird QR codes that you can find, and then you scan them with your phone, and then there's these
Wait.
weird videos.
In-universe QR codes?
Yeah, they're like in the game. Like one will be on a wall, and you just put your phone up to it, and then it takes you to like an unlisted YouTube video from Remedy. You know?
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. But like, if you're looking to play Alan Wake, like that's the best way to play it now for sure. And I still love it. It's fantastic. And I notice more now than I did with it playing it the last several times. So I played it maybe a year or two ago, and then I played it when it first came out. Like, there are so many inspirations, like, references to things that you, like, don't realize, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's references, like, everyone's, yes, obviously the Thermoses and Twin Peaks and all that shit, right? But, like,
I think the Twin Peaks one is like the one everybody sticks on with that game.
yeah, but there's like multiple Evil Dead references, you know. It's just so cool. Such a good game.
Yeah, that's definitely on my list. Like I remember right after, I think either shortly after or shortly before it got delisted that first time,
Yeah.
like we went out and bought a physical copy for 360, and like that was
Yeah.
like probably the most of that game that I played. I think we got maybe a couple hours into it, so I never got to finish it. But now I see this this remaster has got me wanting to play more, because I did have fun with it.
Yeah.
I just kind of fell off of it for some reason.
I would say, like, honestly, because I don't think you finished Control either. So, like, play Control first and then play this, and you'll be like, oh, whoa. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's super cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then, like, all the product placement's been taken out,
Of course.
which is, like, kind of nice. You
Yeah.
know? Because, like, I don't mind product placement in games. Like, especially, like Cool Borders had, like, the Butterfinger BBs, right?
Sure.
Like, I don't mind that shit. It makes sense. If you watch any sporting event, there's advertisements for shit, you know?
Yeah.
And even in Alan Wake, I didn't mind it that much because, yes, there are products in the real world, you know? But it's like Energizer batteries and, like, Verizon Wireless and Lincoln Automobiles and
No.
all that, right?
No,
And it's
thanks.
so funny because it's all been stripped out. Like, when they show up, they drive a Lincoln MKX, right?
Yeah.
And, like, it very obviously is still a Lincoln MKX, but, like, the name has been slightly changed. you
Sure.
know? But, yeah, it's great. Play it. Play it.
What have you been playing, Orion?
So, like Tom, I have been playing a good amount of Deathloop. Yeah, that game is phenomenal. Just like the way that everything is set up, and like all the following the leads and like exploring the world of that game is just really cool. And also, like, of all the games that have done haptic stuff with gunfire in their games, I feel like Deathloop feels the best. Like, cause like all the guns have like a heft and weight to them, and there's this pistol called a 4-pounder, and it's just like this beefy fucking handgun, and it's loud as fuck. But when you pull the trigger, you feel it in the controller, and it feels really good.
Dude,
The
hold on.
recoil.
Speaking of guns, the weird nail gun thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I couldn't get the hang of it at first. I, like, pushed down the trigger and it didn't go. It's because you have to release, right?
Right.
And then I'm like, eventually after a while playing with it and thinking about it, I'm like, this is literally just a bow in every
Yeah,
It's a bow.
yeah.
It's a reskin bow.
Yeah, because like you have a pressure valve that builds up, and then you let it go. But yeah, so both me and Kaylee have been playing a lot of that, And like Tom told us last time, like the banter between Colt and Juliana is very funny. It's like they it's like a very like it's a very antagonistic relationship that they have, and she's like constantly like calling him and taunting him and like
just Colt talking to himself is great.
Yeah, it's really
the NPCs talking are great.
Yeah, and sometimes like if you're just watching them like from afar, like they're like sometimes like they'll be arguing with each other. Like I found like there's another one where like one was like two of them were building a snowman together. Like it's just like shit like that.
Did you find the dominoes?
No.
In Updam, you'll come across this lady on the rooftop, and she's setting up these boxes, but she's setting them up like dominoes.
Yeah.
And you can kill her and knock him over, and it goes for a while. It's pretty
Well, I think my favorite is there's this guy, and he's standing on a cliff playing a guitar, but he's
I hate that dude.
he's bad at it. So he strums. He's like, no, wait, and he strums again. He's like, wait, and he starts tuning it, and it's just so funny. But yeah, so Kayla and I actually we did a round where she invaded my game as Juliana, and it's funny
because you do co-op.
No, we didn't. But like, it's funny because like the way it feels when AI controlled Juliana enters the game is like very different from like when a human controlled Juliana enters the game. And like, even though it's like it's someone who's literally sitting right next to me. Yeah. Like I felt like a lot of the anxiety I felt was because like I don't want her to be able to say that she got me the first time she tried to get me, so I'm on edge right now. No.
Okay.
No.
I will say this: I've yet to die to a Juliana, and I've yet to die to a Colt.
Okay.
Next time you play, die to both of them.
But yeah, the game is really cool. Like adapting your strategy from loop to loop as you get more information is like really engrossing and fun. The powers are really cool. Like I've been having a really good time with it. Also, I bought the upgraded version of Death Stranding.
Oh yeah, you've been putting hours in on that.
Yeah, so like when that game came out, like I was kind of like, I don't know, I kind of like it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good when it came out, but like it didn't really grab me the way that like that I thought it would, and like, but the weird thing is, I guess like a lot of my thoughts on a lot of different things have changed in the time since that game came out, and like the world is like a vastly different place since that game came out, and so like it kind of changed like my mindset going into it, and now I can't put it down. Like now, like I'm super into it.
Does it help that they've like added mechanics to make it a little easier, a little less tedious?
So, from what I can tell, that sort of stuff is kind of light. There are a couple of things that they've added that definitely do make it easier. Like now you can, if there's these floating cargo carriers you can carry behind, you can like pull behind you. And now you can actually take your rope and like tie them down so they don't fall off if the carrier like takes a tumble or whatever. And they've added a couple of other things, but like from what I could tell from my first time playing the game, it seems basically the same. I'm also farther along in the game than I was the last time I tried to play it. But yeah, that game went from a game that I thought was kind of okay to a game that I actually think is like quite excellent, and probably at this point, like I don't know how the game is gonna conclude or whatever, but at this point it's turning into like my favorite post-apocalyptic game.
Oh, okay, thank God. I thought you were gonna say favorite Kojima game. I was about to die.
No, my favorite
You just see Tom just slowly.
No, my favorite Kojima game is probably going to be Snake Eater for the rest of my life.
Rumors of Snake Eater Remastered coming.
That would be great.
A lot of Konami rumors.
Yeah, like what was it, Metal Gear Solid, and there was Castlevania, yeah.
And Silent Hill.
Yeah. It's funny because I don't have the attachment to Silent Hill I think that I once did, so but Metal Gear Solid, a remastered Metal Gear Solid collection would be really great.
I'll be excited for all three of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I like. Well, I'm wondering like what, because like was it like a rumor like a new Castlevania?
There's rumors of a new one. Yeah, and then like with the Advanced Collection, that was their third collection of ports.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Yeah.
like, they
'Cause-
gotta be doing, and they got the fucking show right. Like, they
Yeah.
gotta be doing something with that bitch.
Well, that see, you say that, but like that also makes me the guy who's like, man, come on, Dragon's Dogma 2, because they got that Dragon's Dogma show as well.
Yeah.
So, but then again, they also have a Dota show, so I mean, I guess all bets are off. So, whatever. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing.
So, I think I said on a previous show that I was wanting to go through all the Apple Arcade collection, and I've been doing it while watching TV shows and movies. And so far, I have played half an hour or more of 39 games from Apple Arcade. I'm not
Okay.
going to go through all 39.
Thank goodness.
I will only go through 38.
But I will say, out of the 39 I've played so far, 15, because I've given them all a rating. Like, I wrote down like little blurbs about them, and then gave each one a rating out of 10. And the
Fair,
rating
yeah.
is just based off how much I enjoyed playing it, and would I want to replay it. So out of that kind of criteria, 15 out of the 39 have gotten a 7 out of 10 or higher. So, in conclusion, Apple Arcade subscription, pretty good.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean, we talked about Apple Arcade a lot when it first came out. And
Sure.
We all seemed pretty high on it at the time.
Yeah.
I have not looked back in many, many months to see if that curation, that level of curation, is still there.
It is not.
So that's one thing I did want to touch upon,
Yeah.
for sure. So I will say this: I think it's not as highly curated as when it first started, but also it's now such a more expansive collection. One of the things I really like that they've done since launch is they brought in a lot of classic games. So there's like 3 different versions of like solitaire games. There's backgammon games. There is like Sudoku games, crossword ones. Like some pretty standard games, and it's really nice because sometimes I have like wanted to play those, just like
You got some Minesweeper on there?
not really Minesweeper, but they do have like 3
Pass.
pinball games. So like, you know, just like kind of nostalgia of like when you would play a game from the computer before, like the preloaded ones that you would get on there. So it's pretty nice like to go back and like to spend some time playing like solitaire for a while. And they also have Tetris Beat on there, which I got into actually a lot. I liked it. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
My daughter plays some mobile Tetris game, and I was like, how can you play a fucking Tetris on a touchscreen? What's wrong with you? You're no daughter of mine. You know, that's what I tell her.
You told her that?
Yeah, no daughter of mine plays touchscreen Tetris.
Bring her in here so we can verify that you said that to her.
She's not.
So another thing that they've done is taken a lot of games that were like had a bunch of microtransactions that were popular, like Temple Run, Neko Itsume, a couple other ones, and just added the word plus behind it.
Sure. That's how you do it.
That was the last Castlevania game, by the way. Was a mobile game that was free to play that they turned into like they took all the microtransactions out of it, and it's just miserable.
So
you
I
can
have
still
that.
see the skeleton of what used to be, you know.
Yeah.
So I have that downloaded. I only played like a little bit of it. So like, and so that's the thing. Some of them with the skeleton of the microtransaction build of the game, like with actually taking those out, make the game worse than. And some of these I've played with the microtransaction build, and I just never paid anything for.
Skeleton intact.
Yeah.
Skeleton intact, full body, not debone.
And
Boneless.
all these boneless games. Who's playing all these boneless games?
Oh,
The Apple Arcade has a bunch of boneless games.
Sure.
sure.
And some of them I think are actually poorer for it because there's no like kind of cap to it so it doesn't feel as competitive, and it's a lot more monotonous. One of those is like Temple Run. I know it used to be like that, or a game just like it I remember playing.
Yeah,
And
Temple Run was a hot ticket item 15 years ago.
yeah, and so like the Layton's Mystery Journal game, I played that before when it had a paywall on it, and you would like buy the cases.
Yeah.
And now you just get everything for free, which that one I think is greatly
That makes
improved.
sense. Like, that makes sense.
No, that
You
one's
know?
greatly improved, and that one with like I think it was like to pay for everything was like $10 to $15 at one point. So that in general, like if you just
Yeah,
wanted to
it's
play
still
that
like
game,
$35 cheaper than the handheld version, the console version. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like pay $5, play that game, like just for that game alone. I think if that's something that you're interested in. So I've played a couple racing games on my phone, normally like Mario Kart or like the Sonic racing game. I played Asphalt 8 Plus, which reminds me of a more like competitive like racing game. And that one was weird because it had like the motion controls and like the different sides do different stuff. And I'm not really used to like doing like any sort of racing game with a phone. So that one didn't get like a whole high of a score. There's like a bunch of games that have like DS versions as well that are just like a dumbed down version. And some of these I also like I played on my phone and on my Apple TV to see if my opinion would change. And some of them they did.
Did they put Ghost Trick on there? Because I know Ghost Trick was on DS and it was on the App Store at some point.
I don't think so because I haven't played it. So
Yeah.
I also haven't gone through all the catalog. So so like the two that I say like would be that were improved when I played on the Apple TV is Thong Pop Party.
Thong
which is, like,
Pop?
Cool.
Is that what you said?
Thongs.
Song.
Thong.
Oh.
Song.
I thought you
That
said Thong Pop.
song.
Yeah.
But so you pick like a category of music, and then they play little blurbs, and you have to guess the bands and stuff. And so like that one I think is like fun to do on the TV, especially with a group of people. So I played it with my friend Sean and Berto on the TV, and it was fun.
Sounds
Another
like a good
one.
time.
Another one I think that was improved by being on the Apple TV, I would say, is Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Oh yeah,
Just 'cause it's-
for sure.
Just because it's so visual and having that larger screen and everything, it was just much
I
more
gotta ask,
beautiful.
did you only play half an hour of it, or did you finish it?
I finished it on phone and on my
Okay.
TV. That one I finished. There's not a whole lot of them that I did finish. Oregon Trail is one of the ones I did finish.
God, you're such a
but-
fucking dork.
and Outlanders. But the rest of them, because a lot of, but how are you gonna say like, oh, I finished this solitaire game?
I feel like you should have skipped Outlanders because you played it for 1,000 hours before this little experiment of yours.
Or like you should have
but
skipped
it's-
Solitaire.
I said half an hour or more, and also like it's part of the collection, so I'm gonna have to put it in my list. But it is the only one that got a 10 out of 10 for me because I was obsessed
Sure.
with it forever.
Yeah,
Sure.
alright. Calm down.
Sinead, did you play Cozy Grove on that bitch?
Did I play what?
Cozy Grove?
I have it downloaded, but I have not played it. I had it downloaded before and played like a couple minutes of it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But then something came up, and so I deleted it because I never went back to it. So, but it looks very cute.
We have it on PS4, and it's very cute and very chill.
Yeah. But yeah, so a lot of these that I have are like especially the newer ones that are like Bejeweled games. There's a lot more of those on there. I'd say there's like at least 10 that I can think of
Yeah.
on there. They have some like branded games now that I'm not a big fan of. Like there's a MasterChef game.
Cool. I love that show.
It's got a 3 out of 10 for me.
Oh.
Because of the licensing?
No, so you have to cook stuff, and like you gather ingredients as you like do that, and so like and you're getting judged on it.
Yeah.
And you're getting judged about how well you cook it, but the touch mechanics
The
for the game
McDonald's.
itself are very janky. Like you have to cut things in straight lines, and I even had like where I did like a bridge to do it straight, and it still says I wasn't. And a lot of the stirring ones too, it just it's not very it's not good. Like I know it's not my phone because I play a lot of games, obviously. at least 39 of them.
You know, like a Mario Party when you gotta flip the meat in the frying pan with the Joy-Con. I fucking hate that thing. I want to snap the Joy-Con. You know.
I will say so. The only thing I did was Outlanders, but I will say, Symbol of Care got a 9 out of 10 for me. It reminds me.
Oh yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Monument Valley guys.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think that was my only 9 out of 10 so far. A lot of, like, honestly, I voted, like I said, I voted most of these below, like a 6 or below. And there's a lot of 3s and 2s on this. Just because, like I said, a lot of them just... It's mainly the ones that, like, that are deboned. The ones that are boneless are the worst ones. And there's, like I said, there's a couple that, like, rise above, but even then, like, it's not good. But there's so much more now, though. And
how much is it now to pay for that?
Is it still $5?
$5.
$5? That's worth it.
Yeah, so like up next I have the Monster Hunter game I gotta play, the Castlevania game I have to play, I have Cozy Grove.
Sneaky Sasquatch.
I've already played Sneaky Sasquatch. That
game is great.
I got a 5 out of 10 for me.
Fuck you.
Oh.
Disrespect that Squatch like that.
What the Golf got a 6 out of 10.
What the Golf is pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really rate a whole bunch of these high. I know that they are mobile games, but like I said, it's how much after I get done playing it, or if I put my phone down, did I want to go back to it?
Yeah. There are a fair number of those games that seem like they started off as like a free to play game, and then like the decision, like then they got put into Apple Arcade, but you could, and it's just like it's very apparent with a lot of them.
Yeah, play that Castlevania game. That's exactly what happened with that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so like a lot of these I have like kind of breezed through, and I picked a lot of the easier ones to start with, because I knew that like games like the Castlevania game or the Monster Hunter game, I'm gonna want to put a little bit more time with. I'm gonna say like maybe minimum 45 minutes, just because I did pick, like, at first, specifically a lot of the ones that were, like, ports over from a microtransaction game.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I was going to put them down and do a new one. So I don't know how, like, if I will continue, like, being as quick as I am with these, but I am looking forward to doing the entire collection.
So, there's this... Have you heard of that Fantasian game?
With Mickey Mouse?
No, that's Fantasia.
No.
I'm talking about Fantasian.
No,
Sorry.
I know I've seen it in the catalog, but I don't know it.
So it's supposed to be like some grand RPG, like in the same vein as like your Final Fantasies and what have you. And that sounds cool and everything, but I guess I just can't, like, I don't want to tie myself to my phone to play like some giant game like that.
Yeah, but like also people play them like on their computer.
Yeah.
Or on their.
I did forget that the computer was an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the games aren't on Apple TV. They're only on phone, or like not, or possibly computer as well. I think also we don't live a life where we commute very much, or really have a lot of things like time where we couldn't play other games.
Yeah.
I think that especially like something that big, especially somebody like say like takes a train every day to work or something like that, those would be like kind of like perfect to have those bigger games as far as that goes.
Sure.
Oh, you miss your stop, you know, when you're late to work.
Nah.
But
They put Thumper on here.
I would
do have
hate
Thumper.
to play Thumper.
It's Thumper Pocket Edition Plus.
Nope. You know, I tried playing the mobile version of Spin Rhythm. God, it feels terrible.
yeah, so like some of them I did rate lower than I think the game probably deserves, just because they made it super simple for like mobile, and some of it's like to its detriment.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I will say I did play Game Dev Story Plus, and it got a 4 out of 10 for me. It was not enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I've heard people like say that they really liked it. But
So
I think
have I. But
Which
I've never
wait, which one?
Game dev story.
game.
Oh, that game looks like it's trash.
So I think that if
People
you
like it.
have some sort of like, I don't know, I just think it's like one of those things that's just not for me. Just because it's not super intuitive, it doesn't really tell you really how to accomplish goals or necessarily what your goals are, and you can set your own. But without like any tutorial, like real tutorial to tell you how to like do these things, I found myself just like purchasing things and doing things just because I could without understanding what I was doing.
Sure.
And for me, that's not enjoyable. And after 30 minutes, if I can't figure out what the fuck I'm actually supposed to be doing and how do I like progress in this game, I just don't think it's a good game.
Well, yeah, and I think that's probably the best like approach to take. Like 4 times about different games this week. Like I keep seeing the comment like stick with it, it gets better. It's like no, I want it to be better. I want it to be good and enjoyable from the jump. I don't have X amount of hours to invest in waiting for this game to like click with me. I don't.
I think that there's something that could be said with certain games where it's like, oh, if it's the first like 5 to 15 minutes, or if you don't understand really what's going on with the tutorial, and that's like a story-based thing where you do the tutorial, you learn the stuff, and then when the game starts, it's a completely different story, and then you figure out how that tutorial figured
Agreed.
out. I think there's like things that you can do where it's like, no, stick with it because like this actually does matter, even though you don't understand it now. But I think that there's a difference between that and legitimate gameplay where I don't understand how I'm progressing.
Yeah.
Well, like Deathloop, I've seen a lot of people drop off Deathloop because they don't understand it, and you do have to give it like an hour or so before you understand it. You know.
Yeah, but like that's different from like an hour or so is that's fine. Like
But I think
But like if we're talking about like me jumping like 15 hours into the game before it gets good, that's no.
Yeah.
so you're saying like half an hour and you understood what the goal of the game was.
Oh, I understood what the goal of the game was immediately before I played the game.
So that's the
But
thing.
like,
I don't understand
how
the goal
to
of this game
accomplish
is.
that, I did not understand.
Yeah.
I think that's-
Until
I
like
think-
maybe
but
an
I also
hour.
think that's the difference. I don't really understand what the goal of this game is.
Yeah.
So on there, I think I don't know. Like, I think that I understand what you mean, like not liking that phrase, but I think that phrase is apt sometimes.
Yeah.
App
App
I
Store.
but yeah, I think that I'm going to start playing the more interesting games and
Thank
vary
God.
on those. And I'm excited with that. But I will say, even for a lot of the shorter, like simpler games that I've been playing, I really like the variation that I have seen, and I think that, like especially there being more classic games, I really think that $5 is worth it. With the amount of games that are like really good, actually, and the ones that are simple enough that you can pick up at any point and put down at any point, I think, yeah, pay the $5.
Yeah.
Join me in my journey.
I think the only game on there that's like that has me keeping mine active is like Sneaky Sasquatch. That's like the one game that like I go back to, and I keep hoping that like, man, I hope that they put that game somewhere else so I can, because I want to keep playing it, but this is literally the only place where I can play it, so.
I
Tabletop
literally
is pretty good, too.
I literally have no games on my phone. I have a couple on my watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've been playing and been doing. As far as what I wanted to talk to y'all about is I was talking to some coworkers last night, and we were talking about the new Battlefield beta, and a bunch of them are excited about the 128-person lobby for Xbox. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk to you about big floppy games.
Okay, so like, is it like
Did you say-
regular Battlefield, or is it like a battle royale and there's 100? Because
I think we're talking regular Battlefield here.
Okay.
From the way the conversation went, I'll be honest, I didn't super look it up. Like, I know generally what the story is, and I've seen a couple, like, ads for it.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me very much of the conversations that people had about MAG before it launched.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk to you about, like, what is it? MMO FPS. And also just, like, games that have large lobbies. Because, like, MAG is the MMO FPS, I think, the only one I've actually played. And my problem with that is there was such a... Because everybody was on the same map, like, I'd be hit by stray bullets. And... like other things would happen and I would just die, and it was just like super not fun for me because
you were
I
bad
didn't feel like progress because I was bad at it and I couldn't figure out how to progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like I like the idea. I always like the idea of like let's have 100 fucking people, right? Like I think that's super cool. But like I just wish that we could see that in other genres more often, you know? Because it's always a shooter. It's not always a shooter, right? There's Tetris 99 and whatnot,
sure.
But like
Tetris 99 feels different, right? Because like you're not all in the same space together in that same way. You know what I mean? Like
you could attack whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's
puzzle based instead of action based. I should say.
Like
I know it's a bad thing.
I've had this idea for a bit. And like, of course, I'm not going to make it because I'm lazy and I don't know how to, right?
Sure. Those are your two biggest roadblocks.
But
I don't even know how to make that game.
A battle royale racing game, right?
Yeah.
Where there's 100 people at the start, and there's a line that slowly follows you and speeds up as time goes on, till one person wins.
That's absolutely an awesome idea.
No one's done it. Why not? You know, get on it.
Yeah.
Fucking lazy ass developers fucking up my games, you know.
Sure. Why do they do that to you, Tommy?
They're gonna make a shitty mobile Castlevania game, but they're not doing this shit.
Like the collective video game industry.
The idea of shooters when I first heard about like battle royales, I was like, that's really interesting, you know.
Yeah.
But then everything was that for a long time. Everything was that. And like, you know.
I think the most disappointing thing about battle royales for me is kind of like what you said, right? Like a lot of that takes place in the same genre, but like also mostly around the same format. There are variations here and there, but I think that there's so much unexplored territory within that sort of framework that people haven't really looked into yet. But I think that the idea of a racing, like especially a racing game, like when you can see that line coming up from behind you, that would be tense, you know. But
I think it'd be awesome. Also, I hate the fact that like even in the most successful of these games, right? Even in the most popular of these games, you still end up with quite a few bots.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, well, that's not the same as 100 people, you know. 80 people and 20 bots is not the same as 100 people.
Right.
You know. And you still see, I mean, you see that in Fortnite. You see that in PUBG.
Yeah,
like,
but
the biggest ones of these games, you still see that. You know?
Yeah, you see, and I think like it's like because on one hand, like on some games you see that because like the player count is low, right? But in the games like this, it's just like no, we want you to think you're doing really well, so you stick around and spend money on our game, you know, and it's kind of fucked up. But
what about like a massive multiplayer like fighting game? Would it just be like Dynasty Warriors but no NPCs?
That'd be horrible.
Well, I feel like
how would be a fighting game, you know?
Like, I feel like that they it wasn't the same thing like by any means, but like it's I can conceptualize that concept because of Absolver, and it was that open world game where like you could just fight other people.
And their new game looks cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a 2D fighting game, and it's just essentially. So the one thing I can think about is if it's like essentially like a bracket system in there, where you're in like where it's like
that's
two people can over it.
Yeah.
Games have that already.
I was like, I can't think of like how you would do like so like you said like there's just like one genre and it typically does the same format, but I'm just thinking like. So, like, if we do it to RPGs, then it's just then it's just WoW or Second Life.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, so like there are fucking Mugen fighting games where there'll be like 100 fighters on one 2D screen. You know,
I couldn't do it.
That would be fucking hilarious. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, I
but
couldn't
it'd
do
be
it.
Hilarious.
I couldn't do it. And you know, like while it's not for me, I took Fall Guys as like a very encouraging sign
I
of
forgot about that. That was a good one. I like
yeah,
No,
like
no, Fall Guys is a good point on that.
Yeah.
Like,
because like it is basically a battle royale, but like it's a different kind. Like it's like you're not.
it's a platformer.
Yeah, and so I think I took that as an encouraging sign, like of like things going in a more dynamic, you know, direction with battle royale. But then, you know, after that, battle royales kind of people making battle royales kind of defaulted to those same conventions that they had been.
1 versus 100.
Yeah, like back in the early days of
Vaguely.
360.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd like to see something like that come back.
yeah.
Or like, you guys ever played Bishibashi?
Mm-mm.
No,
So-
I have no reference for what the fuck that is.
It's a multiplayer mini game type thing. Think about like very similar to WarioWare, but like
Okay.
competitive multiplayer focused. I think the most you can do is 2 people, though maybe 4 people. But like, I'd like to see something like that. Like with this latest WarioWare, I think they could have, or even with like Mario Party, like I think they could find some way to do that because like Fall Guys advertises itself as a battle royale party game.
Yeah.
Right? Not a platformer.
Yeah.
But realistically, it is more of a platformer.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
I think you could do that with party games or with trivia games, you know. Like,
For sure.
you could easily do that with like You Don't Know Jack or something like that.
Absolutely.
Just really whittle down the crowd, you know.
Yeah,
I've played trivia games like that. Normally,
Yeah.
though, it's not like real time, so it's like, oh, like you pick the answers, and it's like, oh, how many people in this trivia game have picked that
Right.
answer?
Right. And it has to be
So-
that way, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be. You could do live rounds with
But
it.
like even like with You
There-
Don't Know
there'd be a lot
Jack,
of
with us
issues with
playing
it.
in the same room, if we're playing off different mobile devices, like my button might work faster than your button. You know what I mean?
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know how they could, like, I guess it could be some fucking You Don't Know Jack rollback or something like that, but I don't know.
But just to kind of like loop back around to something I wanted to bring up. Did either of you play World War II online or PlanetSide 2?
I played PlanetSide 2 for a little bit.
How was it? Like I said, the only one of that genre that I've played was Mag, and I never played either of those, and I know those were the 2 biggest other ones.
I mean, I'm probably not the best guy to ask about it because, like, with those, I'm like, with games like that, I am very easily confused about what I should be doing or where I should be going. And the game, to my recollection, I mean, it might be different now, but it didn't do a great job of explaining to me like any of that. And it's kind of overwhelming, which is why I kind of don't play games of that scale these days because it's kind of a sensory overload for me.
Fair.
But like conceptually, like it's very cool, like with all the vehicles and all the other shit that the player can do, and like the maps are enormous. But when it comes to shooters, though, like I want smaller ones. Like I want smaller and more fast paced, you know. But
I think there could be some interesting experiments with that formula, though, right? Like if Quake Champions had a battle royale.
yeah,
Think about that. Think about like 100 people moving that quickly. That'd be fucking great.
yeah,
I'd be terrible at it, but it'd be awesome to see.
Yeah.
You know? It's like all these Fortnites and PUBGs, like everybody's pretty not slow. They're not like Halo slow, right? But
Right.
like they're not exactly fast.
yeah,
What about like a giant, like massive, kind of what like Uncharted or Lara Croft should be with treasure hunting, where it's just like you have a giant, like say like ancient civilization, and like you have different puzzles that everyone go to, and like have to like collect things.
Yeah, they just have to be like puzzles have to be randomized
yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
And that's I don't know how easy that is to do.
Like
Deathloop,
I-
does this whole thing where like everybody's codes for everything is different, so you can't look it up online. Right?
yeah,
But like that's just a number. That's not like an
Sure.
actual like Laura Croft or Nathan Drake fucking movable pieces sort of thing, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I guess it would definitely not be something that would be long lasting. I feel like it probably might pop off for a little bit and then drop off.
Yeah, because I mean,
That's the hard thing, right? Like if you're trying to target that audience, not always, but most of the time, you're also targeting free to play.
yeah,
And like that's got to be at least lucrative enough for you to make your money back. And,
Yeah.
you know, that can't be easy.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
Fall Guys, I think just got lucky because it was a PlayStation Plus title, much like fucking the car soccer
Rocket League.
Rocket League.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of it, I think it's hard, you know, like designing for like a match of that size, right? Like there's so many things to account for, and like trying to make it fun is like, which, you know, is the first priority, is probably like it's probably a huge challenge. And I think
You have
that
to be confident. You have to be confident enough that you're going to have 100 people in your life.
exactly, like that's
You know.
because you've seen, like like since you know PUBG like was at its peak, like we saw all these other battle royales like come onto the scene, right? And but like so many of them died off like really fast because like they just couldn't fill their lobbies, you know. So you know, and the idea, and like that's another thing too, is that trying to differentiate yourself from what's already established, while also, you know, trying to bring some familiarity to like kind of pull people in, is like it's you know, it's difficult. So which I think
I
is
mean, there's a reason we're not doing it.
I would never want to work on a game that was like persistently online. That sounds like a nightmare. But also, like, I think that, you know, sometimes when we think about these games, like, it seems sometimes like PUBG or what have you, like those things seem like kind of like a matter of course, right? Because I think that, you know, we're going all the way back to those large shooters like you know, MAG, or like, you know, some like older Battlefield games. Like having people on that scale is very enticing, because like having a giant war game is a very, very cool concept, but at the same time, like,
It's the more people you can kill.
Yeah.
Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Target.
yeah, for sure. But I think that there is still like a lot of even if we're just talking about like combat focused battle royales, I think that there's a lot of different ideas that could probably be implemented there. You know, like I've been thinking about for a while about, like, because a few friends of mine were talking about that movie, The Raid, the first one that was in the building, and I was
The Raid Redemption.
The Raid Redemption, that's what it was called. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if like you put a bunch of people in like one building, and then they had to kind of like they had to like fight their way to the top of that building, and there's like a bunch of other people in the building too. They're like, and I don't know, it's just like, it was like a very like basic random idea that I had, but I was like, man, maybe that could be something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you know, games are a mistake for the most part. So
Yeah,
I
I do
think-
think like it's a very neat idea, right? Like, and MAG, like when I first heard about MAG, I was like, that's fucking rad, you know? But
Yeah. But then the
same
reality
thing.
sucks.
yeah, I mean, I don't think there wasn't enough people playing PS3, you know?
yeah,
That
that's
one
a
time,
huge thing too.
right. Like PS3
Yeah.
did eventually outsell 360,
But it
not
took a
till, like,
while,
Not to like the tail end of that generation.
and definitely not when MAG had come out. You know.
Right.
But I think MAG is a cool idea, though. I just think that, like, again, like Tom said, like, you have to have the people to fill those lobbies. You have to have the people like actually playing the game to like make it engaging. Otherwise, you end up like now, even like now you end up like with games that just have bots, and then you know that they're bots, and that's not engaging at all. So
I don't mind bots, but like, you know, if the whole draw to the game is that player count, right?
yeah,
I think like Fortnite had a good idea with it, in that like People forget Fortnite Battle Royale was not the main game mode. It was
it was
side mode.
Yeah, right.
That just took over, you know. And I think that's a smart way to do it. You just have to have a way to incentivize people to play that mode.
Sure.
Right? So like if Back 4 Blood came out and had a mode where it's like all the zombies are player controlled.
Right.
That'd be fucking awesome, right?
Yeah,
but you
for
gotta
sure.
have
Be
a way
awesome.
to incentivize people to do that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like fucking Deathloop, right? Like Juliana. How do you make people want to play that Juliana mode? If we know it doesn't really matter in the long run, how do you make people want to play that?
Give them unlockables.
Give them skins, right?
Yeah.
Make her super hot.
But you know, like you can't just hope people are gonna play that mode or hope people are gonna join a battle royale. You know.
Sure. And I think definitely Fortnite was a very much like right place, right time kind of thing. Like they brought that battle royale mode in like at just the right time. And so, like, I think that but it also made it so that anybody who tried to iterate on that concept afterward had a tougher time of it. But
well, and also I think like it's marketing to the player, right? It's exactly what Fortnite did. Let's get all these IP,
right.
You know,
Right.
Let's get all these IP that don't mix together,
Yeah.
and we'll fucking throw them in there. And Fall Guys tried to do the same thing, right? Like you can have Hotline Miami dude and Ratchet, you know. But
Yeah.
like,
but see, that's the thing is because Fortnite has LeBron James and Keanu Reeves shooting at each other. So
Yeah,
I mean, you can't beat that.
Rocket League, same thing. Let's get the Ghostbusters car and the Back to the Future car
Yeah.
and all that crap, right?
Yeah.
It's a good idea. You just have to have the money
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And also the popularity to do it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But we've seen like the worst games can be super popular, you know. You get the right person streaming the whatever game and it works, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like if fucking nobody ever streamed Getting Over It, nobody would have given a fuck about that. You know?
Yeah.
I think the what's the game that the one where you're trying to figure out who the imposter is?
Among Us.
Among Us.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody had to stream that to get that popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, because
Among Us had been out for years.
Yeah, like that game sat in the store for a long time.
I was like, hasn't it been there forever? I was like, what popped that up?
Yeah, and they were actually working on Among Us 2 around the time that Among Us 1 got popular, and they were just like, we'll just call it.
I
guess we don't have to do that now. So, so I think that a lot of it, has to do with, like Tom said, like luck, time and place, and then getting the right person playing it too is a huge thing. And then also the way that you market. I think that say what you will about Fortnite, but their model works.
They're marketing what's successful.
Yeah.
I went to the comic shop for Batman Day to get the free Batman comics,
Yeah.
And of course, one of them is the fucking Fortnite Batman
Sure.
comic book.
He's the.
So I took it.
He's the. Well, that's the strongest Batman, Tom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, he killed 99 other Batmans.
That's true. It's conceivable that all the other players were all Batmen, and he killed the other ones.
Batman Royale.
Yeah. Hell, I'd play that.
I would too. But yeah,
They're all just crying because Batman hates guns.
But I just wanted to touch upon it, is I was talking with a friend the other night about, because they were telling me that they were playing the Halo Infinite beta, and it has the grappling hook now and stuff, and I'd explained to him about how Just Cause 2 demo having the grappling hook and parachute mode, I think is what made that game popular, because I don't remember anybody talking. I don't remember even talking about Just Cause 1. Just Cause 2, everybody was fucking
Yep.
down.
Yep.
Yeah.
I never.
It's
never
as they
played it.
did the weird shit, right? As they did that shit. Like, which one was it that added the weird rockets that you could, like, shoot people's wieners off and shit?
Oh, that I think that was actually Just Cause 3.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also, I think, probably like saw popularity of like Saints Row the Third having all their weird shit, and they're like, well, let's do weird shit with our shit.
Yeah.
But we saw with Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell and Agents of Mayhem that level of weird shit. There's a balance to it,
you know? Right?
Yeah. And people gotta learn that balance. But yeah, and I thought that was pretty funny because of just like not like because like for me, I have a very like strong memory of like everybody being super down for like the grappling hook and parachute. I was too.
Yeah.
That demo was so cool, and then the game, I was like, oh, I kind of dismissed the demo.
That's like the Zone of the Enders Metal Gear 2 demo that everybody always loved. And like, because you can shoot the ice bucket and the ice melts and all that.
Yeah,
And
it does.
People love the fucking demo more than they love the game, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it melted, you know?
But I just also because like so we're talking about the beta of Battlefield. Just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was like a fun little remembrance thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, do y'all have any closing thoughts on anything we've talked about today? Apple Arcade, massive games, grappling hooks, Batman Royale.
No. Oh, I do want to say I purchased again. I think this is the third time now that I purchased Dishonored because after playing
Great.
You made the Dishonored comment earlier.
You're doing it right.
I was like,
yeah, after buying that, I purchased Dishonored for like the third fucking time.
You're doing it right.
And while I've made it farther than I ever have in that game, this week, I'm just like the more you play Deathloop, the more you realize it is part of that universe. Like,
sure.
They are part of the same universe.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think I care. I think Dishonored's not for me.
Yeah.
It's
also,
you want it in the game early. The guy that makes your mask in the very beginning of the game, just kill him.
Can you kill him? Can you kill that guy?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Also, Deathloop has a lot more swearing in it, and swearing is fucking cool. So.
That's true. It adds at least.
What the fuck's my name?
Son of a fuck! there's this one trinket that Kaylee picked up that power it makes it so that like when you're sprinting into a guy it'll knock him over, but it said something like powers up your sprint so that when you run into someone you knock them the fuck over, and I thought that was cool.
Go to the party in Updam at night. And hide in the ceiling so nobody can see you.
Yeah.
And just listen to the NPCs. Because there's this one dude, and he's got like this little song that he's got going in his head, and he's like, I'm like, it's so fucking great. It's so great.
Things like this that you talk about that make me want to play the game.
That game has some sick fucks in it, though. There are some sick fucks on that island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be around them. The swearing and the singing, the bad guitar playing, all down for that. Sick fucks? I don't know.
That's my last thing. If you're playing Deathloop, fine, pick Rexley. You won't regret it.
Okay, pick Rexley.
But I think I'm gonna finish it where I think Tom's a genius. This racing game needs to exist. If any developers are listening to our show, hey, make that.
Someone's proud of you making something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, make it.
I mean, they had what was that? Fuck. Onrush.
Evolution?
Yeah, Onrush was a racing game, but it had like some kind
different modes.
Yeah, so
it was Overwatch racing.
Yeah.
Split Second also had some different modes, I thought.
But like just that, right? Just the line following you.
Sure.
And of course, the people that are great, it's not a problem. But then that line slowly speeds up.
Yeah.
It's gonna eventually get everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody can escape the line.
Yeah, because I've seen everything, so it won't matter because I've seen everything.
Mario Kart
Yeah.
9. Do it.
But I guess it's the end of our show. If you want to find us, we have a Discord you can chat us up on. We got social medias. We are on most podcast platforms such as iTunes, Podomatic, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Store. Just listen to us. Oh, we're also on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
And bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.